Pliers, what are we doing today? Huh? Yeah, so we're moving on the boat. You say boat? Boat.
Here we are on the boat and officially sold the house. It is a done deal. We closed this morning. Just one more jump away from being full-time in the Caribbean, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, and all that stuff. Really a good day. Everything went awesome. So we are on the boat for about a week right now, just hanging out while our stuff gets down to Florida, and very soon after we're going to come up and get the boat and take a nice long leisurely trip down to Florida, partially by the ICW and partially out on the ocean. So we have a list of little things that we need to get done, little jobs, and the first one I'm going to do is, as you probably know from previous episodes, we got some nice, pretty new precision sails. The Genoa that we bought is a 150. Our previous sail was a 130, and our furling line would barely roll up even with that. I know rolling up that extra amount of sail, it's gonna bind up bad. We won't be able to do it. So what you do is you core the first 30% of the line, and that's actually a manufacturer recommendation for most furlers. We're gonna do that. So the first thing we have to do is pull the furler all the way out. Okay, so we got all of our extra line out, and as you can see, our furler is set below the deck. It's a little different from most, but there's basically a knot on the bottom side of this that we got to get to, and I'm trying to remember how to do that. So I've got set screws down there for the drum, and we have to stick a screwdriver in there and drop that drum down, and that's how we get to the knot so we can get it out of there. So there's number one right there. These are just little nylon screws, so you gotta be real careful with them. Now we'll just move around and get the rest.
Did you get it? Get out. How the professionals do it. Yeah, you're gonna have to put it back in too.
That worked. So we got our furling line out. Not as easy as I made it out to be, but that's boats. So I've got it all laid out here. So I'm gonna measure this length, and then we're gonna find the 2/3 point, and that'll be 1/3 of the entire line, and that's the point at which we'll start coring. So the first thing we gotta do is cut this tip off. I got a helper now. You gonna silicone something? Oh, thank you.
Whose shirt is that? Oh, thank you. Oh, pliers? Can I have that? Stop.
I'm gonna come back when I finally get it. Finally get it to the core to come out, it should look like that. Camera girl is back.
At the moment.
See, I finally got a hold of the whole thing with the fit and dug it out. So then you just pull a nice long section of it. Now.
Good job.
Thanks. Okay, so now we've got our tire section cord. So we got this piece hanging out here. And before we cut that off, you want to bind it with a bit of thread, lock it basically. Now I'm going to sew this line. Here's the place where the core stops. I got a little lock stitch in there. We left about 2 inches and tapered it so that it's sort of a gradual, it's not a big bump in there. And then the final step is to burn the end so it doesn't have any stuff coming loose. And then we just go thread it back into the furler, tie a stopper knot, and that's it.
How was your shower this morning?
Brief.
Why's that?
My shower became a foot bath.
It's just some standing water in our shower right now.
Yeah. I think it drains right into the bilge. It should. That's the way most of them work.
Right.
So I'm going to take this immediate panel off and see what's going on. I wish I had one of those plastic plumber zips. I forget what they're called. They're like a piece of yellow plastic with little barbs on it.
I packed one. Not here though.
So we don't wet. Yeah. After some effort, this is just a simple mesh filter. There's nothing crazy about it. So long screwdriver on the dock and a hose, and it is completely clean, and it was pretty nasty. Gonna put this back on. This bad boy goes right on the end of that. It just screws on. Just like that. Having a dog on board too, we'll probably have to keep a better eye on our bilge system. Everything's working right. We just had a clogged shower drain filter, and now it's not. As I mentioned, we've got a few to-do items on our list, and among those is address our overheating issue, which got a whole lot better when we cleaned the exhaust elbow. We haven't done a ton of motoring since then, but the motoring we have done, we haven't really had any overheating issues. That may have been all it was. However, the last thing we wanted to check regarding that was our heat exchanger. And so that's what I'm doing now. I've got the cap off of the heat exchanger front. I've got the back end off as well. From the front, it actually looks pretty good. If you're real careful, you can, stick something down through those tubes, which I did with an Allen wrench, and from this side, they're all clean. So I just took the back apart, and so now I'm going to take this iPhone, but I'm going to use the light from the back to shine through the tubes to see if they're clear all the way through. And if they are, then we're going to go with it, see what happens. So, in that brief amount of time that I was off camera, which would be zero amount of time for you probably, I did the light test through all the tubes of the heat exchanger, and they're all completely clean. Hopefully we're good. There's a couple things we could probably still check, but they're not likely to be the problem. All the big things we have fixed. It's good to know that this is clear and we don't have to worry about it. Dirty thumbs. So it is St. Patty's Day. We're drinking G&Ts with a nice slice of bright green lime. I don't have any green in my clothes on the boat. The baby's asleep. This is
life on a boat. You're spilling.
Cut me off. This is the extent of our partying for Patty's Day. Why are you drinking mine?
Because you spilled it.
At any rate, happy St. Patty's Day. There once was a man from Dublin. Nah, nothing rhymes with Dublin. So, on a bit of a whim, you can see where I am. I just bought this. We've been planning on upgrading since we're going to be doing a whole lot more anchoring in the near future. Rocking a 20, our boat is on the very low end of the scale for this size anchor, so it should do a really good job. Now we just gotta fit it in this car with the dog. You can ride with the anchor. No, not in the driver's seat. That's where you ride. Sit down there. There you go. Just a cuddly anchor. Ride it down to Corin's car with it. It was worth it.
How's the servicing of winches going? I mean, you got the jelly out, so that's good.
Yeah, I got my petroleum jelly.
You got your paper towels.
So much for the family channel. So I'm no expert on this. This is the first time I've done it. And there's really not much to it except for keeping track of everything. These little pawls, they're called, that are between the gears. And they're little springs. Those things love to slide out and fly out. Your little plastic bearings. See that? That's the biggest thing when you're doing winch service, is not losing any parts. The steps are basically take everything very carefully apart, then use some form of degreaser, and I'm using denatured alcohol. Some little brushes. I wish I'd got some better brushes. Just trying to make sure there's no like grease buildup anywhere that might be gunking things up, and they're really not too bad. So just use the alcohol to kind of clean all the parts. So this is, I guess, step 2 after taking it all apart and laying it out, making sure you don't lose anything. And then all there is left is relube it. You don't want to leave it unlubed.
No unlubed winches here.
Any kind of gear oil will work. And this is just for the pawls. This is just for these little guys here. And then for the actual gear teeth themselves, just straight up winch grease, just lightly, and then you put it all back together. Thanks for making this process into something dirty and entertaining.
This is what it is.
Yeah.
Servicing the winch.
Our autopilot kind of works the way it's supposed to, but in any kind of seas at all, or heavy wind, it just doesn't want to keep up. It slips a lot, and we tried tightening up the tension a little bit, which didn't really do too much. So they suggest the next thing is to just check the belt and replace it, and frankly it doesn't really look that bad. It's a little hard, so maybe it's just just slipping a little bit. So, can't hurt. We'll replace the belt. It's so cold right now.
Today started off and it was like 72 or 76.
Now it's like freezing cold, like really cold.
Or it's like 59, but...
We've spent a lot of time this week kind of getting the boat cleaned up, and I've been doing some boat projects.
We did.
So when we come back to the boat, we'll have just a few more things to do before we head south. Take the boat down with us for good. Right?
Are you cold?
Come
here. Buddy, it's really cold.
Don't go out there.
Stay here. No, stay here. No.
So the plan was to do a champagne toast here in the cockpit at sunset to celebrate selling our house and getting ready to move to Florida. The spot in Florida we're moving is directly across from the Avocos, so that'll probably be the first place we take off. So if we think this baby will, play nice for a minute, we'll open this bottle of champagne. He likes to do things that scare us. He's really pretty good on the boat, though.
Mostly everything that he does on the boat scares me.
Yeah. And there he goes. Hey!
Hey, come here. Hey, come here.
All right, we're gonna go wrangle him. We'll be right back. Yeah, you're in frame. Just don't hit me in the face with a cork.
It's going in my hand.
Suck it if it goes over.
It's coming! It's coming!
You can do it! Oh, yay!
That scared the dog.
It's like all foam.
Hold on.
It's like champagne foam.
Sorry.
God, wind. Cheers. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, everybody. Come on, pound this.
We're gonna pound it?
Yeah, let's pound it. Ready? No, I can't pound champagne. Cheers. Please take a moment to like and subscribe.
And be sure to follow us on social media.
Thanks for watching. Cheers!